Nina takes a step back, putting distance between us. Why would you do that to me? Why would you put a curse on me, Magnus? She yells. She is cursed? Someone yells. Nina looks at me with tear-filled eyes and a look of anger and hurt in her eyes. Well, that's one less thing I don't have to tell, Hank says. Nina and I glare at him. Nina has a curse that affects your dear future, Alpha. He can't shift naturally without severe pain, as you all know, but what you all don't know is it's because of her curse. He shouts and points at Nina. Everyone glares and point at Nina. No, leave her alone. It's not her fault. I say, pulling Nina behind my back. I have the proof that Nina is not what she seems. She has no wolf because she is a witch and cursed you, future Alpha. He shouts and points a remote up, pressing a button. The projection screen shows a video of Nina and me and the lake earlier today. Nina is casting spells. There is a sudden uproar of pack members and people from other packs yelling, "Witch! She cursed Magnus. What if she has cursed others?" Nina clings tightly onto the back of my suit jacket. My dad stands up and walks in front of us with my mother. Please, everyone, you must all calm down and take your seats. Nina is not a danger to anyone. See, she has even cursed your Alpha to protect her. Hank yells, "She would never." My mother shouts, "I suppose they haven't told you either that their son Magnus has killed Moss?" "What?" everyone says. "He kidnapped Nina. He wanted to kill me." I explain, "Lies. I have a witness here who witnessed the brutal murder of her son." He says, gesturing for someone to come forward. A hood figure steps out from the shadows and stands next to Hank. She pulls her hood down. "Vanessa!" My parents scowl. "It's true. Magnus murdered my son after Nina bewitched him. She made him fall in love with her. She willingly came to our pack, pretending we had kidnapped her. Magnus went straight for my son, who was under a spell, and ripped him to pieces. And now I will seek my revenge," she yells. The hall becomes swarmed with hooded figures. Everyone yells and scream. The rogues remove their cloaks and shift into their wolves and attack my people. Mum, Dad, Leon, Seth, Mia, and Amelia instantly shift and fight off the rogues. I step back, keeping Nina safe behind me. We watch as my mother's wolf goes straight for Vanessa. Mum lunges at Vanessa and they bite each other, snapping and snarling. I have never seen my mother so vicious and put up such a fight with pure intent to kill. This is a fight to the death, one that was due many years ago. She whimpers as Vanessa rips a chunk of flesh from her side. Mother uses her weight to pin Vanessa down. She bites into Vanessa's neck the same way I bit into Moss's. Blood pools at her neck as her legs flinch a few times before she falls limp. My mother lets out a howl of triumph. She has won the fight against her greatest enemy. She spots Alice and runs towards her. Alice being old, my mother kills her within seconds. The rogues don't stop fighting, even though Vanessa is dead. 5 of them creep towards Nina and me. "Magnus, they're going to kill us?" Nina says. "Use your wand. I need you to teleport out of here." She nods and pulls her wand out. She grabs my arm. I look down at her arm as she says, "Skedaddle dash." We disappear together. We reappear in the pack house at the top of the stairs. "Wait, you could port me too?" I figured it was worth a try. She says, marching to my room. "Wait, where are you going?" "I'm leaving Magnus. I need to take the spell book with me," she says, searching through my room. "Wait, what do you mean you're leaving? Even if your parents beat the rogues, the pack will want to hunt me down anyway, because if you have forgotten, they think I have cursed you when it's actually you who has cursed me," she retorts. "I won't let them hurt you. I'll explain everything. That it's all my fault." "Yeah, because you explaining it all was going down really well in the ceremony hall?" she says sarcastically. "And how do you suppose you're going to stop our pack and many others from hurting me when you can't even shift into a wolf quickly enough to even save me?" I walk over to my backpack and put it on and take Nina's hand. "What are you doing? Let me go." I stop walking and face her. "I'm going with you." "What?" "I'm leaving Shadow Crest. I'm going with you until I break the curse. That way we can both come back and no one will have a reason to harm you." "But they know I'm a witch, and you can threaten to turn them into a frog if they even try to harm you." I smile. Nina is trying to stay angry at me. I watch her lips slightly curl up as she contains a laugh. She nods and holds my arm and waves her wand. "Skedaddle dash, skedaddle dash, skedaddle dash." she says a few times. We appear 1,000 meters ahead with a blink of an eye, then another 1,000 meters. This goes on until we are at least a kilometer away from Shadow Crest. As we come to stop and are no longer teleporting, my stomach churns and nausea takes over. I vomit profusely into the bushes. After 10 minutes of vomiting, I turn and face an unimpressed Nina with her arms crossed. You have a lot of explaining to do, such as why you cursed me, how you caused it, and how you were going to break it? Do you remember the day when we were kids, and you tricked me to stand near the floodgates by the dam and I got washed away? Yeah, she laughs. That night, after Mum told me to go bath, I went upstairs to my room and ran the bath. I was still soaking wet. My clothes clung to my body. I slipped over and laid there on the floor in anger and stared out the window at the sky and yelled these words at the moon. Damn you, Nina. I wish the moon goddess herself would curse you and not give you your wolf on your 18th birthday and remove your mate bond until the day I find my mate and I fall in love. A flash of lightning suddenly hit the roof of the pack house and thunder roared loudly in the sky. I wondered at the time if it was a sign from the moon goddess, but didn't think it was possible. I never thought about that moment ever again until tonight, when your wolf never came. Then I remembered this part in the spell book. I pull the spell book out and open it and point to the paragraph where it says, anyone can also curse someone using their god's or goddess's name. A powerful sign will occur, such as an earthquake, lightning strike, or a loud rumble from the sky if the god or goddess accepts your prayer, wish, or curse. That was when I realized it was me who had cursed you. I'm so sorry, Nina. I am truly sorry. I say as tears drip down her face. She steps back, glaring at me as I attempt to wipe a tear from her face. And now you're telling me I won't get my wolf until you find your mate and fall in love with her? She cries. Talk about a slap in the face, Magnus. I'm sorry, Nina. I don't understand why the moon goddess would even take anything I say literally anyway. You have more muscle than brains. Do you know that? What do you mean? Your mother is from the Moonstone Pack. She is a descendant of the moon goddess, which makes you a descendant also. Of course, the moon goddess is going to take her descendants seriously. Ugh! Nina stomps her feet and storms off. I chase after her. I'm sorry, that never crossed my mind. I fall to my knees. I'm the biggest idiot to ever exist. Nina stops running and turns to look at me. We were the best of friends once. I thought the pack saw me as one big joke. I pushed you away and ignored you for years because of it. Then I made things even worse. I cursed you and now you don't have a wolf, and you won't be able to sense your mate until I find mine. All I ever wanted was to protect you and keep you safe, but all I've done is cause you hurt and pain. I'm so sorry. Will you ever forgive me? I cry. Nina morbidly approaches me and falls to her knees in front of me. Our knees are touching. She takes my hands and holds them in hers. I can feel her hands trembling. We gaze at each other with tear-filled eyes. She bursts into tears and wraps her arms around my neck. I hold her tight and cry into her soft brown hair. All those years you say you ignored me. You never did. Every day we had breakfast and dinner together, you would stare at me with a longing in your eyes. When you climbed trees and swam through the lake with the others, you would always look to see if I had followed. The times you saw me, your lips would curl into a smile, which you would quickly hide. The days I watched and you couldn't see me, you were miserable and agitated towards the others. Throughout high school, every girl would try to get your attention, but you would still sit where you could be near me and watch me at every chance you got. Even Claire and May were always catching you staring at me. I could sense your eyes on me constantly, as if you were caressing me with your own hands. As for the curse, you were only a child venting. If you had have known it would become a curse, then I know those words would have never left your lips. I forgive you, Magnus. She sobs. I squeeze her tighter and press my face further into her hair and neck. Thank you, I whisper. We part and wipe the tears from our faces. What do we do now? I say. The only thing left to do is make things right by finding your mate to break this curse. We have to visit all the packs. Let's start with the Starlight Pack east from here. We wait a couple of hours for the sun to rise. Without warning, Nina grabs my arm. Wait. Skedaddle dash, skedaddle dash, skedaddle dash. she says. My stomach churns as we flash 1,000 meters east at a time until we reach Starlight territory. I instantly fall to the ground with severe nausea holding my stomach. Next time, please give me a warning to ready myself, Nina. Don't be such a baby, Magnus. It's not that bad. I don't feel any motion sickness at all. Maybe because you're the one casting the spell, you're immune to the effects? Maybe karma's just getting you back for cursing me? She smirks. You forget that when I cursed you to not have your wolf, it curses me as well by not being able to shift comfortably? Well, maybe the moon goddess added an extra bit of sugar onto yours, Nina says and sticks her tongue out. I sit up. Now everything has stopped spinning. As soon as I stand up, growls are heard around us. I pull Nina behind me to see 5 wolves circled around us. A wolf shifts back into its human form. You are trespassing in Starlight territory, he warns. I'm Magnus, the future alpha of the Shadow Crest Pack. I apologize for trespassing and for the lack of notice of my arrival. It's urgent that I meet every unmated she-wolf to find my mate. Please escort me to your alpha. His eyes slightly fade. He is mind-linking his alpha. This way, he says. It will be quicker if you both shift. Nina and I give each other a look. Oh, but the weather is just so lovely that I think I'd like to walk. This, she says as a question rather than a statement. She subtly shrugs her shoulders at me as if to say, what else am I to say? Sorry, I have no wolf, but that's okay. I'm a witch and can blink instead? Okay. Sure, I guess, he says, confused. The wolves walk behind us as we are led to the pack house. The rest of the wolves shift back into their human forms and enter the pack house after us. Beta Ryan, thank you for bringing Magnus to me. Fetch us some wine for our guests, will you? Of course, Alpha Edward. He bows and walks away. And who is this beautiful young she-wolf you have with you? He asks me. This is Nina. She is the daughter of my pack warrior's commander. I see, he smiles. Please take a seat, both of you. He gestures his hands to the table. We take a chair and sit at the table. Nina sits beside me as we face Alpha Edward. Beta Ryan fills the glasses up with wine and hands one to Alpha Edward, then Nina and me. Beta Ryan tells me you are here to search for your mate? Yes, Alpha Edward. I am. Well, aren't you an eager Alpha to be wanting to find your mate so soon? He chuckles. Very eager, Alpha Edward. I see. Well, let's drink and I'll have the she-wolves called up. He mind-links Ryan to ready the unmated she-wolves. We finish our wine and follow Alpha Edward out the door. 24 she-wolves blush and twirl their hair as soon as they see me approaching. I walk up to each one. My wolf is calm and I don't feel the pull from the mate bond with any of them. I shake my head no at Alpha Edward. The girls voice their disappointment that Magnus isn't their mate. A pigeon flies over my head and lands on the stone windowsill of the pack house. It's a messenger bird. Alpha Edward says and takes the scroll of paper from the bird's leg. He scrunches his eyebrows as he reads the note. You never told me rogues attacked your pack? Oh, didn't I say nervously. We are sending this letter out to all packs to inform them that Shadow Crest was under attack through the night by a pack of rogues who followed the orders of Vanessa, who you may all remember as Alpha Zenith's daughter from Shady Crest many years ago. If anyone sees Magnus, please tell him we are okay, and that we hope Nina and he are, okay? Regards Alpha Ryker and Luna Astrid. I'm sorry, Alpha Edward. When we were under attack, Nina was in great danger. I had to leave Shadowcrest to keep her safe. Well, now you can return, now that you know Shadowcrest is okay. He smiles. It's not that easy, Alpha Edward. Nina will remain in danger until I find my mate. Until then, neither of us can return. I don't understand how finding your mate is going to keep Nina safe. It's complicated and information I cannot share without endangering Nina any further. In saying that, we thank you for your time and must make our way to the next pack. I'm sure it won't be long until you hear the rumors of why Nina is in danger. If you could reply to my parents' message and let them know I will return once I find my fated mate, we would appreciate it. Alpha Edward nods and we take our leave. Once we are out of sight, Nina grabs my arm. Skedaddle dash, she says, and we port halfway through the woods. We should set up camp for the night here? She says as I vomit in the bushes. Sure, I say before heaving again. Nina takes a bottle of water out of my bag and hands it to me. Thanks. Once my stomach is back in one place, I collect sticks and bundle them together. Inferno Flamo, Nina says, igniting the bundle of sticks into a fire. Are you ever going to warn me before you cast a spell? Probably not. She smirks. We sit by the fire and keep warm. I lay on my back and look up at the stars. Nina lies on her back next to me. I miss my mum and dad, Nina says. I miss my family too. Would you believe I'm even missing May? You, Miss May? Never. I smile. What if it's months or years until we ever see them again? We have each other. It's you and me now against the world until I find the one. I sigh. Yeah, Nina frowns and stands up. I'm going to go for a walk. I'll come. No, please stay. Some time to myself is what I need. I won't go far. I promise. She says with sadness. Oh, okay. I watch as she wanders further into the darkness of the woods. Why did she become so sad suddenly? She is going through a lot, having no wolf, a curse, and a witch hunt after her. I wish I could hold her and smell her mint and lavender hair and tell her everything will be okay. If I could choose my own fated mate, I would choose Nina in a heartbeat. Nina returns with red puffy eyes. She has been crying. Are you okay? No, I'm not. I just want to go to sleep. She says and lies on the other side of the fire away from me. Why is she distancing herself from me? Did I say something that upset her? I don't fall asleep until she is sound asleep. When I wake up, it's the morning. I look over to where Nina slept. She isn't there. Nina, Nina! I yelled. I can't see her anywhere. Nina! I frantically yell. What? Why are you yelling like that? She says with hands full of berries. I race over to her and place my hands on her shoulder and look her up and down. Are you okay? Where'd you go? I thought something bad happened to you. You were still asleep, so I thought I'd go pick us some berries for breakfast. I pull her in for a hug, squashing the berries she holds between us. She sighs. Well, there goes our breakfast, she says. We can skip breakfast. Let's just get to the midnight pack. Fine. Skedaddle dash. Skedaddle dash. I keep my eyes closed longer than usual until we are no longer blinking. After a minute, I slowly opened my eyes and was relieved to have no nausea. That's more like it. I smile. We arrive near the midnight pack house. I can see it further up the road. It's looking worse for wear and could do with fresh paint. We walk towards the pack house. As I'm about to knock, I realize Nina and I have been holding hands. When she realizes too, she quickly lets go and her smile fades. I want to ask her what is wrong. As I'm about to, the front door opens. I thought I could smell unfamiliar wolf scents. Alpha Anslow, it's been a few years since I've seen you, I say. Magnus, is that you? After I thought you couldn't grow any bigger here, you are, well, bigger. He laughs. Come inside and join us for breakfast. Breakfast is just what we need. I smile. We sit in the guests' seats at the table. Grab a plate and help yourselves, Alpha Anslow says. Other than breakfast, what brings you to the midnight pack? I've been going to each pack hoping to find my mate. I see. You are welcome to wander around and see if any of my pack members are lucky enough to be mated with you. Thank you, Alpha Anslow. With full stomachs, Nina and I walk around through the midnight pack territory. Nina drifts behind me. Every time I look at her, I can tell she is forcing a fake smile. But why? Stop staring at me already and go find your mate, Magnus. She says, Is something wrong, Nina? No, why would anything be wrong? She frowns. I just can't help but feel there is something you want to tell me. Nina hugs herself and looks down. That depends. Is there something you want to tell me? She says with hope in her voice. I take a step closer to her. There he is. A she-wolf yells. Half a dozen she-wolves come running up to me. Nina backs away. Her hopeful smile disappears again. They take his hands and pull him towards the houses as more she-wolves come out. Even though I am being dragged away, I turn my head to watch Nina walk away towards the pack house. She doesn't want to come with me to meet the she-wolves. I don't understand why. You would think she would be keen for me to find my mate so I can break her curse once and for all. I really don't get her sometimes. The mate bond did not go into effect after meeting all the available she-wolves. They were very disappointed that I was their mate. I returned to the pack house. So tell me, was any of the ladies your mate? Alpha Anslow asks. No, I sigh. Well, that's very unfortunate. I wish you luck in the next pack. Thanks, we should get going. I say and look over at Nina. She seems withdrawn. We leave the pack house and enter the woods. So, which pack are we going to next? She asks. Let's set up camp for the night. We can worry about the next pack in the morning. We silently collect sticks together and bundle them up. Inferno Flamo, she says, lighting the fire. She sits on the other side of the fire and avoids any eye contact. Nina, I can't help but feel you have been distancing yourself from me. You have been avoiding me, and you didn't even want to help me find my mate today. I'm thinking you don't want me to break the curse? She looks up at me wide-eyed with her beautiful doe eyes. Her eyes well. I scoot over to her. What's wrong? Please tell me. I don't want to upset you or make the situation worse. Nina, seeing you upset is upsetting me. The only time I am ever truly happy is when you are smiling and when we are together. Really? Yes, really. It really hurts when I see all the she-wolves swoon over you. I know you need to find your mate, but I really care about you. I always wished as a child you would be my fated mate, she sobs. You really wished I was your mate? I ask as my heart rate rapidly increases. A feeling of happiness washes over me at her words. Yes, it's stupid, I know. I cup her face in my hands and gaze down into her brown eyes and suddenly realize that I don't just love Nina as my best friend, but I'm in love with Nina. Nina, I think we can go back home now. I smile. She gives me a look of confusion. But we haven't found your mate yet. We don't need to find her. I have everything I ever dreamed of right in front of me. Magnus, what are you saying? She trembles in shock. Nina, it's you I love. It's you who I want to spend the rest of my life with, even if it means I never shift again and you never have your wolf. We don't need to have the mate bond to know we love each other. I don't need to feel electricity when we touch, but the warmth of your soft skin. Nina, I want to be with you. I love you. I cry. Magnus, she sobs. I love you too, she says as we stare at each other's lips. We kiss with the utmost passion. A crack of lightning strikes a tree nearby and thunder roars through the sky. Nina wraps her arms around my neck, and I wrap mine around her waist as the kiss intensifies. Suddenly, Nina flinches back and screams in pain as a bone snaps. She is shifting. The curse is now broken. More thunder and lightning flash through the sky above us and turns into a hectic storm, raining down on us. As I hold Nina in my lap, I feel the electric static wherever our skin touches. It feels amazing. Our eyes turn black. Mate, we say in unison. Nina lets out another scream. Try not to fight it, Nina. It will hurt less if you let your wolf take over, I say, stroking my fingers through her hair. It hurts. I know, babe. I'm here and I'm going to help you through this. She nods and tries her best to relax. Black fur covers her as she shifts into her wolf. My breath is taken away. Her wolf is pure black with a white-shaped star on her forehead. Nina, your wolf is so beautiful. You even have a white star on your forehead. I've never seen anything like this, I say, stroking her fur. She steps back and prances around happily in wolf form, then nudges into my shoulder. You want me to shift too? She shakes her head. Well, if the curse is broken, I should no longer feel any pain when I shift. Here goes. I remove my clothes and focus my mind, closing my eyes for a moment. I open them to find I have shifted straight away, pain-free, into my large white wolf. This is amazing, I think to her. I can hear you, Nina replies. I can hear you too. We can mind link now. We were fated mates all along. Can you believe that? She cries. We were never cursed, Nina. We had been blessed with each other all along. We rub our furry faces all over each other affectionately. Let's go for a run towards home, I mind link. Nina runs ahead with super speed. I can only just keep up behind her. We run for hours through the night until we are exhausted. We lie huddled together and stare up at the moon. Moon goddess, thank you for blessing me with Nina as my mate. Nina nudges me and shifts back into her human form. I shift back too. That was amazing. We can both shift now and we are fated mates. Nina squeals and plonks herself happily in my lap. I nuzzle my face into her neck and breathe her lavender and mint scent in. You smell so good, I say. She giggles at my nose, tickling her neck. You smell like chocolate and freshly chopped wood. She laughs. Really? Yep. She grins. My mouth crashes onto hers without warning, and we share a passionate moment. Shall we skedaddle the rest of the way back home? She asks once we break the kiss. Yes, let's go. Embraced in my arms, she waves her wand around. Skedaddle dash, skedaddle dash, skedaddle dash. We blink multiple times until we reach Shadow Crest, except we land in the water of Shadow Crest Lake. We burst into laughter in the middle of the lake. It's still dark, but the sun will rise soon. We kiss and wrap our arms around each other. Nina stops for air and removes her wet shirt and bra and flings it onto the grass. I remove my clothes and do the same. As we explore each other's bodies, we make love. Our teeth protrude and we tease each other, running our elongated teeth across the nape of each other's neck, readying ourselves to mark each other. My teeth sink into the nape of her neck, and hers sink into my neck. A euphoric sense takes over us as we mark each other. We are officially mates. Nina is officially mine. We lie on the grass as the sun rises. We sleep as we wait for our clothes to dry. It's almost lunchtime when we wake. Nina is smiling and flinches when she touches the mark on her neck. Tender? Yeah, but that's expected. She smiles. We better get dressed. I can't wait to announce that you are my mate. I smile. Holding hands, we giggle and laugh together as we walk through the town of Shadow Crest. Everyone stares and whispers. We arrive back home at the pack house. Still holding hands, we enter together to see our families at the dining table about to have lunch. Magnus. My parents yell excitedly. Nina! Her parents yell happily. Everyone runs over to us, including Zach, Josie, Flint, May, and Pipsqueak. They come to a stop and look down at our hands holding. Magnus, what is going on? Mother asks, confused. We broke the curse. I told Nina I want her. I love her, Pa, and want to be with her, even if it means me never shifting and her never gaining her wolf, and that we don't need to have the mate bond to know we love each other. We kissed, and she shifted. I can shift without pain as well. And you should all see her wolf. She is so magnificent and beautiful. I turn Nina towards me. Just like her human form, I say and kiss her in front of everyone. Everyone is crying with tears of happiness. My dad and Leon shake hands and our mothers hug each other. There is a commotion outside. I open the front door to see half the town is yelling. What is the problem? I yell. There she is, the witch. People yell, pointing at Nina behind me. This witch will soon be your Luna. Be careful what you speak. We will never accept a witch as our Luna. She doesn't even have a wolf, another person yells. I smile at Nina to shift. She immediately morphs into her wolf, and everyone gasps at her unique and beautiful black wolf with the white star. Your Luna is one of us. She may be half wolf, half witch, but you will all love and respect her the way I do. Anyone that upsets or aggravates my fated mate that the moon goddess blessed me with and blessed you all with to be your Luna will suffer great consequences at the wave of her wand. What consequences? Someone asks. Nina has my blessing to turn any one of you into a frog. Have you disrespect her? I say. Nina is trying not to laugh. She knows she can't turn anyone into a frog. Not yet anyway. The crowd gasps and dissipates, worried Nina will turn them into frogs. I'll see you all at the ceremony announcing Nina and me as your official Luna and Alpha, I say, waving. 1 week later, Nina and I walk hand in hand into the ceremony hall. My parents await us on the stage. We walk up together and stand facing my parents. It is with great honor I hand over my status as Alpha to my firstborn child, Magnus, my dad says, and it is with great honor I hand over my status as Luna to my son's fated mate, Nina. Mum smiles. With that said, I announce to you your new Luna, Nina, and your new Alpha, Magnus, my dad says. The hall erupts with cheers. I stand behind Nina and wrap my arms around her and place a kiss on the top of her head. She leans back against my chest and looks up at me, smiling. You can let me go now, she blushes. Nina, I'll never let you go. The end. A new story will be starting now. Nina kisses my cheek and takes a seat at the desk beside me. Magnus, is there anything else I can do for you? Could you please hand me the Shady Crest status report? I say as I set aside a pile of paperwork that I had just finished signing on the desk. Rolling up her sleeve, Nina waves her wand. Levitate, she says. The paper rises and swirls in a circular pattern, 1 page at a time, before settling in a neat stack in front of me. Nina, it was literally in front of you. You could have just reached for it, you know? Well, where's the fun in that? She gives a warm smile. Do you suppose you could conjure me up a mug of coffee, by any chance? I grin. Magnus, you realize I'm not capable of doing that? Honestly, I'm not sure what you are capable of yet. You read that spell book each night and refuse to tell me what you've learnt. Well, you have to admit that seeing me cast the spell rather than listening to me explain it is far more interesting. That's true, but it is a shame there is no conjuring a coffee spell in that book. I chuckle. We hear a disturbance coming from downstairs. Where is he? Where is Alpha Magnus? A man demands. Hank storms into the office and slams his fist on my desk before Nina, and I can even get up. He cries, You liar! You cheat! I smile as I cross my arms and relax back in my chair. Hank, it's great to hear from you. How may I assist you? He steels himself at my words. How can you assist? I'll explain how you can assist. My sister Addison was supposed to be your mate and the Luna of Shadowcrest. Instead, you betrayed our agreement and sought your soulmate. Are you referring to the contract you blackmailed me into, where you threatened to reveal Nina's secret to everyone, knowing it would put her in grave danger? Nina rises to her feet, her hands on her hips. Hank, are you aware of how ridiculous you sound right now? She growls. You're lucky we didn't toss you into werewolf jail for blackmailing an alpha. You are exiled from Shadowcrest. Now get out and don't return. Or what? Hank squints. Nina casts her spell with a flourish of her wand. She exclaims, Repeliate! Hank is pushed back against the wall with an unseen force. Nina approaches him as he rises from his seat on the floor. Or I'll transform you into a frog, she cautions. Hank shakes and bolts out the door. I walk over to Nina. Repeliate, hey? I say to Nina. I give her a high five and remark, I like that one. Me too. It must be lunchtime for sure? My tummy grumbles with hunger. Nina smiles as she says, Yep, the last one downstairs is a rotten egg. Game on, I say. Then I hear Nina behind me as I rush out the door. Skedaddle dash, she says. When I turn around, she's gone. My mouth hangs wide in surprise at her deception. I make my way downstairs to see Nina sitting in her seat with the biggest grin. Nina chuckles. Oh, look, it's the rotten egg. Zach, Pipsqueak, Gianna, Flint, May, and Josie try to keep their giggles to themselves. Nina, you can't use your magic and blink to win the race. She shrugs, picks up her fork, and eats her lunch. We should have a bonfire tonight, Flint proposes. That sounds like it would be a lot of fun, Nina says. I'll bring the marshmallows, Josie squeals. Well, that settles it. A bonfire it is, I say. I grasp Nina's hand after we complete our lunch. Let's go for a run with our wolves. Great. My wolf has been pleading with me to let her out all morning. We leave the pack house and remove our clothes outside the woods. Nina shifts into her black wolf while I shift into my white wolf. When I get close enough, I lick the white star symbol on her forehead. The race begins when she nuzzles me back. As the wind whips through our fur, we leap over logs and fallen branches. We sprint in and out of the trees, trying to outrun each other. We don't stop running for hours until arriving at our favorite area, Shadow Lake. We both dive in and swim back to the surface in human form. My heart is bursting with happiness as I gaze into her eyes. I'm so lucky she is my mate. I could never be happier than I am right now. Before drying off and returning to the pack house for the bonfire, I give her a soft kiss. While Flint rolls a few logs closer for everyone to sit on, Zach has gathered logs and branches in a half-metal barrel. I'll go inside and get the marshmallows, Josie says. May appears with Josie and the two of them sit together. Well, I guess I'd better get this fire going, Flint says. Inferno flamo, exclaims May, igniting the fire. Or I suppose May will get it started, I guess, Flint replies nervously. Nina is cuddled on my lap, staring at the fire with me. I wrap a blanket around her. Her head lies on my chest. The fire crackles and embers hover above it. Nina murmurs, Inferno flamo. The flames coalesce and develop into a dynamic image of a galloping horse. Wow, we all exclaim. May says, Inferno flamo. Embers mix to form the image of a dolphin leaping out of the flaming ocean. How does using these spells work? How do you have such control over the flames and embers? I inquire. Well, we say Inferno flamo for fire spells. Then we picture what we want it to do, and it does it. The Aquabidu spell and any other spell related to an element work in the same way. Ah, I see. What you and May are capable of is truly incredible. It certainly is. Suddenly, thousands of more embers appear, creating a spectacular light show. That's amazing, Nina, Josie expresses herself. Nina responds, That's not me doing that. I thought that was Nina? Josie asks May. It wasn't me, May says. If it wasn't either of you, then who is it? Steps approach from behind us. We all spring to our feet and prepare to shift. 5 people in olive green hooded cloaks come to a standstill. The individual in the center takes a step in front of the others. I can't help but notice a smoky-colored cat sitting beside one of the hooded people at the back. Who are you? How did you get into my territory without us noticing? I snarl. The person in front lowers their hood. Yiselda? I inquire. Alpha Magnus, she murmurs before turning her focus on Nina. She acknowledges Nina with a smile and a nod. The 4 hooded people behind her all bow their heads to Nina. Nina and I exchange a troubled look. What brings you here, Yiselda? Nina inquires. A mouse sits upon her shoulder and begins to clean its whiskers. After all, Magnus, it's fantastic to see you were able to break the spell, she replies, dismissing Nina's query. I did, I admit, but I can't help but think that's not why you're here. Alpha Magnus, I would like you to meet the Midnight Coven's members. Introduce yourself to Fern, Elaria, and Lilac. As their names are called out, the women drop their hoods. They are all stunning women. Fern is a woman with brown hair and blue eyes. Ayla has brown eyes and blonde hair. Rhea has red hair, green eyes, and numerous freckles. There is a cream-colored snake around her neck. I try not to squirm, thinking about the snake. Then there is Lilac. Her hair is black, and her eyes are brown. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Please have a seat, I say, motioning to the wooden logs. They warm themselves by the fire and make themselves comfortable. So, the Midnight Coven? I question. That's correct. We are the last known coven, although only a few people are aware of us. We learned about Nina and her sister. They are half-wolf, half-witch hybrid. Yiselda looks at Nina. I knew there was something special about you when I saw you, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. But I can see it now, all around you. The curse must have been shadowing your power from everyone. The rumor that Nina and her sister are witches quickly spreads across the packs. There's a reason we're the only witches remaining and why we've remained hidden from the rest of the world. Can you tell me why? I inquire. Yiselda inhales deeply. Witch hunts, she whispers, sending eerie shivers down my spine. But now the eggs are out of the basket, werewolves are aware that witches still exist, and Nina is your mate, making things quite interesting. So, my Midnight Coven sisters have become hopeful that they may be able to come out of hiding and live peacefully among the pack, your pack. Zach and Josie take a step back in surprise, tripping over the log. We all exchange glances as we hear nothing but a croak, followed by another croak and another. As the croaking comes from Ella, we all look at her oddly. She giggles and reaches into her pocket for a slimy toad. Everyone, it's fine. That noise isn't coming from me. It's simply Todd, my familiar. He's a toad, Ayla exclaims as though it's the greatest thing ever. I try not to cringe and instead frown. So you all want to live here in Shadowcrest? I ask. They all nod and smile except for Yiselda. I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to stay. The 4 ladies would be the only ones residing here. Perhaps if the other packs see that we can coexist peacefully in this pack with you, they will rethink their ideas about witches and allow us to live freely without fear. This is a significant decision that Nina and I can't make right now. Tomorrow, we'll have a meeting and seek counsel from our elders. We would appreciate that, Alpha Magnus. Why wouldn't you be able to stay, Yiselda? The covenstead we live in is more than just a house. Some beings have been sealed for all eternity and can never be released. So at least one of us must remain at the covenstead to ensure that the seals are not broken, or the ward spells are not removed. What kind of beings are they? I ask. Things you hope you'll never meet, the darkest things you can envision, such as grimgoals and shadow reapers that come from your deepest, darkest nightmares. It would be like opening Pandora's box if they were set free. Because of this, it became the name of our covenstead. Your home is known as Pandora's box? I grimace. Fern, Ayla, Rhea, and Lilac chuckle and nod, amused at the situation. Yes, if only your species could understand that witches are here to protect everyone, to keep the world free of demons and dark forces. It's our duty to keep them trapped by having wards and spells in place. We also create potions to help heal the sick. Won't you be lonely staying in Pandora's box? Nina asks. Yiselda laughs. I wish. But unfortunately, the Vampire King never shuts up. I've already put up with him for a few centuries as it is. Fern, Ayla, Rhea, and Lilac can come by any time if they are able to reside here. They could teleport to Pandora's box easily enough each day if they wanted to. Vampire King? I mind-linked to Nina. Never knew vampires existed, let alone a king, she mind-links back. However, enough with Pandora's box. We want to invite Nina and May to join our coven as sisters. Joining us also means that it will be our responsibility to protect and keep each other safe in times of peril. But Nina and May are part of the Shadow Crest pack. Because they are half witch, half wolf, they can be part of both. This would also unify us as one prominent coven, or, as you call it, pack. I appreciate it, Yselda. At tomorrow's meeting, May and I will discuss it. Let's get to know each other a little better in the meanwhile and roast some marshmallows, Nina proposes. We're all holding our sticks placed above the fire with marshmallows. Then Yselda works her magic and puts on a performance for us to enjoy. We are watching a fire display put on by a little bird who is still unable to fly like her siblings. On the other hand, the little bird does not give up and continues to attempt every day. She eventually learns to fly and flies past her siblings. We applaud Yselda for the charming story. Thank you for your kindness, but we must depart. We'll be back here at midnight tomorrow, Yselda adds. She then draws a circle on the ground with a star within and sets 5 stones at each point of the star. Fern, Ayla, Rhea, and Lilac vanish as they enter the circle. Yselda sends out one more wave before stepping in and disappearing. That was just as entertaining to see as the show she just created, according to Flint. How do you feel about joining as one pack? I ask Nina. It wouldn't feel right to dismiss them. It must be disheartening to have been in hiding for so long. Magnus, I sympathize with them. It's the same for me. Ultimately, as Alpha and Luna, the decision is ours, but I believe some assistance and advice from our parents wouldn't hurt. I agree, she adds, gently kissing my cheek. The next day we arranged a pack meeting. Leon and Amelia are the first to arrive. Ever since, Nina and I became the Luna and Alpha of the pack. All our parents relocated. They still live in Shadowcrest, but are now all in their own homes closer to the woods. With our parents sitting at the table and Nina by my right side and my Beta Zac by my left, I begin the meeting. I appreciate everyone's attendance at this meeting. You're probably all wondering why you're here. We received an unexpected proposal last night. I'm sure you all remember Yselda? Everyone nods. Yes, she helped rid you of your fever, Mother says. She came to see us last night, bringing 4 other witches with her. They desire to unite with the Werewolf Society and join our pack now that word of Nina and May being half-witch has spread. Ryker and Leon exchange worried looks. Did you say anything to them? My father inquires. I told them I'd call a meeting and talk about it, and here we are. Personally, son, I don't have a problem with it. We love them, Nina and May, regardless of their status. My only concern is how the other packs will take this information and how they will handle it. It won't surprise me if most packs are against the idea. We haven't considered the ramifications from other packs. Yselda hopes if they can see us living in peace, then perhaps they will adjust to the idea and realize witches aren't as dangerous as they have always believed. I'm fine with it too, but I'm concerned that it might backfire and endanger Nina and May's safety. Leon explains. It's only been a few weeks since we became Alpha and Luna. It will be another month before all of the packs learn of Nina and May's half-witch status, even if Yselda's coven joins us. If they don't like that Nina and May remain in our pack, it will be a safety issue for them anyway. You're right, son. That is something we will have to be wary about. If they join us, Nina and May will also join their coven, which means the Midnight Coven will protect them. If the wolves come for Nina and May, we'll need the witches' help to protect them. We can fight most packs, but we wouldn't stand a chance if they all fought simultaneously. Everyone agrees with a nod. It has been determined that the Midnight Coven will join us, I announce. Before departing, everyone rises and bows to Nina and me. Nina and I walk into town to meet up with Shadowcrest's local pack members. Although the majority of the group has accepted Nina's half-witch status, a few members remain concerned about her abilities. Mrs. Turnpot is squatting in her vegetable garden as we come to a halt at a small picket gate. Nina pokes Mrs. Turnpot over the fence and says, "Hello, Mrs. Turnpot." When Mrs. Turnpot notices Nina, she glances up at us and falls back. Oh, she trembles and retreats. "Mrs. Turnpot, what are you planting today?" Nina is overjoyed. "Sea carrots," she replies, "but they haven't been growing." Nina takes a look around the garden. "Perhaps I can assist?" "Revito sprouto," she says. "Mrs. Turnpot's carrots are sprouting and growing right before our eyes." "Thank you, Luna, thank you," Mrs. Turnpot says as she vigorously shakes Nina's hand. "No problem, Mrs. Turnpot. I'll see you later," says the narrator. We resume our walk when Nina waves farewell. "How long have you known that spell?" I inquire. "A few nights ago. You're the first to see me cast it." She smiles. "I'm excited. The Midnight Coven will be joining our pack. Imagine all the spells I'll learn. I can't wait to see how they make their potions, too. And those little pets, they seem to all have one? I must ask them tonight if having a pet is part of being a witch. However, I'm concerned about that snake. I'm shocked the toad and mouse haven't been eaten. I'm curious whether it's been tempted too, though." "Are you really going to ask them that, Magnus?" "What?" "I'm curious. Yeah, and you know how curiosity killed the cat?" We both burst out laughing. "Hey, since we're near the library, I have a surprise." "A surprise for me?" Nina exclaims. "Come on," I say, taking her hand in mine. I escorted her into the library. As we stroll past everyone, we say, "Hello, good day." Miss Smith, the librarian, is who I approach. "Miss Smith, it's great to see you again. I'd like to borrow the library keys." She gives me an odd look and takes her keys off her belt. She hands over the keys and adds, "Sure, Alpha Magnus." "Thank you," I say as I recapture Nina's hand, head to the forbidden door and unlock it. "Alpha Magnus, Alpha! You are not permitted to enter." Miss Smith expresses her anxiety by saying, "No one is allowed in the restricted area." "I'm the Alpha, Miss Smith. I'm free to do whatever I want, and I'm in charge and responsible for this place," I explain. She gives me a timid nod and moves back, not daring to look into the forbidden room. I shut the door behind us, and it's as gloomy as it was the last time. "Do you think you could do the honors and provide us with some light so we can see?" I ask Nina. She takes her wand from her pocket and flicks the tip, causing a small flame to appear. Unfortunately, seeing the entire room is not possible. "Illumini!" she exclaims as the flame bursts into flames, filling the room with light. "Wow, this is incredible. I had no idea this room existed." She runs her fingers across the spines of the books and exclaims, "These books must be thousands of years old." Then she sets her wand in an empty candle holder on the vast stone table in the center of the room. "Surprise," I say, folding my arms and leaning against the stone wall as she surveys the room. "I was hoping you'd want to take a look at the books and bring one home to study. Until now, no one has been allowed to access or read these texts because magic has always been prohibited," I add, endearingly looking at Nina. "Magnus, thank you so much," she says as she rushes over to me and softly kisses my lips. "You're welcome," I say, beaming. Nina selects 10 books and carries them to the stone table, where she begins scanning them. Finally, she sets aside the 6th book, returns the others, and delivers me the one she desires. I read the title aloud, A Book of Potions. I smirk and say, "Why am I not surprised?" Nina laughs and shrugs her shoulders, amused. I return the book to her and then raise the keys. As I remove the key to this room, she keeps an eye on me. There's a slender chain amongst the other miscellaneous stuff on the disorganized stone table. I step behind Nina and hook the chain through the loop at the top of the key. As I carefully wrap it around her neck, she gasps, "This room is now yours, and you can use it whenever you want." "Magnus, I'm at a loss for words. How about you say, 'I love you'?" I offer with a chuckle. "Magnus, I love you," she says as she holds my face in both hands and kisses my lips. She gives a kind smile. She says, "Dimulus," while holding her book in one hand and recovering her wand with the other. Her wand goes out, and the room becomes dark once more. We walk out the door, and she reaches down to lock it with the key dangling from her neck. "Magnus, this is incredible. We're forming an alliance with witches. I'm going to join a coven, and I've got my own secret room with all the magic literature I could want," she exclaims. "I would do anything for you, Nina. I would give you the whole world if I could." "I'd even give you the moon," I say, gazing into her beautiful doe eyes. "Oh, Magnus, to me you are everything. You are the whole world and the whole moon," she whispers. We kiss passionately, only for bystanders in the library to begin clapping and wolf whistling at us. "Shh, this is a library." "Everyone needs to be silent," Miss Smith scowls at everyone. Before we leave the library, I return the ring of keys to Miss Smith, minus the key to the forbidden room. We see Zack and Pipsqueak stapling flyers to lampposts across town, telling Shadowcrest of our upcoming merger with the Midnight Coven pack. The pack huddles together to read the posts. They are unsure what to make of it. Nina and I approach them in the hopes of reassuring them. "Hello, everyone," Nina says, smiling. They all smile politely. "I want to reassure everyone that joining forces with the Midnight Coven is a beneficial move. Extra aid around town would be beneficial, as would magical protection if our community were ever in danger. Witches are not to be feared. Your loving Luna is one, along with her sister May, and has never caused us any harm. They are on our side and want to live peacefully amongst us and help keep humans and us safe from any threats to our communities. You are all welcome to join us at midnight tonight if you wish to." Everyone nods and smiles at each other, and all appear to be more at ease. It's nearly midnight. Everyone in the pack house is staring at the circle with the stones at each point of the star. "How does this work? Do you believe they will materialize in the circle, or will a cloud of mist emanate from within and cause them to appear?" May inquires. "I suppose we'll find out any minute now," Nina adds. Yiselda is the first to emerge in a flash, followed by Fern, Ayla, Rhea, and Lilac, right on the stroke of midnight. Yiselda grins as she notices half of the village staring in wonder. "I assume you consented to join us as one community?" Yiselda inquires. "Welcome back," I say. "Yes, we are all thrilled to have you join us. Nina and May are also delighted to join your coven and become your sisters." My parents stand amongst the crowd and smile at me. "Let's begin the initiation then and have you join our pack." An athame with a black wood handle is brought forward. I take the knife and cut across the palm of Yiselda's hand and then across my palm. We clasp our hands together. "I, Alpha Magnus of the Shadowcrest pack, with the Moon Goddess as our witness, accept the Midnight Coven into our pack." Wolf and witch have merged. Lightning hits and thunder roars with the same ferocity as it did the night I cursed Nina inadvertently. "The Moon Goddess has blessed us," I declare aloud. We part hands to find our wounds have all but healed. Everyone cheers and shouts their welcome to the witches of the Midnight Coven. The little mouse crawls out from Yiselda's hood and sits on her shoulder. "I have to ask you, Yiselda, these pets you all have? Is it part of being a witch to have one?" Nina asks. Yiselda laughs. "These are not just pets, my dear. These are our familiars. This mouse is not just a mouse. Nibbler gives me a source of extra power when I need it. I can see through her eyes and hear through her ears at any time. She also helps me with potions and ingredient gathering. She is a unique familiar since she can transform into many animals. Her choice appears to be a mouse in general. I'm guessing it's due to her fondness for cheese." Yiselda chuckles. "How would May and I receive a familiar?" "Well, at your and May's initiation into our coven, a portal to Silverfay Forest will open. All of the familiars dwell there. You'll trek through the woods until you come across your familiar. You'll know when you've discovered yours. Much like a mate bond, you will feel a deep connection and be pulled to each other. When you touch your familiar, your wand and clothes will alter, and the mark of your familiar will appear on your chest." "Like a bite mark?" "Like a bite," Nina says with a cringe. "Not at all, it will be a symbol like a tattoo," Yiselda explains. "Oh, I was worried for a moment there," she says with relief. "So was I add, not liking the notion of anyone else marking my mate with a bite." "This is so exciting," May exclaims. "I wonder what familiar I'll get?" "If you want to find out, we can start the ceremony," Yiselda smiles. "Yes, let's start the ceremony." "I'm ready," Nina says. The 5 witches stand in a circle. "Nina, May, come forth and join us," Yiselda says. Nina and May approach the circle of witches. They all hold hands. "Once the portal opens, that is when you can let go of our hands and enter Silverfay Forest," Yiselda instructs. The rest of the pack and I take a few steps back to give them more space. Yiselda begins the ceremony. "Thy coven sprouts like a seed. Mother Earth, We beseech thee to acknowledge our two new sisters, like branches budding and flowers blossoming. Add them to our tree. Thy new sisters of midnight coven, we welcome thee. We listen to Yiselda say the words to initiate May and Nina into the coven. The earth trembles as a swirl of dazzling mist encircles them, and grass and flowers bloom about their feet. The mist dissolves, and a spark of light appears inside the circle, becoming increasingly visible with each passing second. It is the entrance to Silverfay Forest. Yiselda, Fern, Ayla, Rhea, and Lilac all beam at Nina and May, nod for them to enter Silverfay Forest. Nina and May break the circle by releasing everyone's hands. Nina is the first to make her way to the gateway. Smiling, she takes a deep breath and vanishes into Shadowfay Forest, the land of familiars. May is so excited that she doesn't hesitate and rushes in after Nina. Nina. I'm standing in the most enchanting, gorgeous woodland I've ever seen. The trees are not just various colors of green, but also pinks, purples, and blues. They generate a glow that gives the trees the appearance of being composed of diamonds. A silver mist floats in the air, glistening in the breeze. May slams into the back of me out of nowhere. Sorry, she chuckles as I stare her down. Wow, this place is beautiful, she says. We begin exploring and come across a variety of animals. A sloth climbs a tree slowly as a bat hangs upside down on a branch. A possum pokes its head out of a tree hollow. Hello, I say, waving at the animals. May gives me a strange look, then comes to a standstill and casts a glance to the left. I need to go this route, she says. I followed her until she kneeled beside a vast bush. Hello, my familiar. I feel you're around here somewhere. I'm not sensing anything, I say. That's because we're not yet close to your familiar. The brush rustles, and a fennec fox emerges. This is the cutest thing I've ever seen, May squeals with delight. Come forth, little one. May reassures the young fox, I'm not going to hurt you. The fox approaches May and sits down in front of her. She extends her hand to pat the fox. A brilliant light swirls around them both the instant they make contact. I keep watching as they levitate. May's clothing shifts from slacks and a loose top to a dark brown tailored dress with a corset back as she hovers slightly above the ground. The hem and sleeves of the dress are embellished with stunning gold embroidery. Her wand appears to float in front of her. She leans out to accept it, and the wand produces another ray of light. Unlike the elaborate features on the other witches' wands, ours resemble sticks. May's wand changes. At the bottom, a silver swirl appears, accompanied with jewels and embellishments. The fennec fox leaps onto May's shoulder and places its paw on her chest. May flinches and turns to face the fox. I can hear what you're thinking, she adds. The fox removes its paw and leaves its imprint. May grins as she stares at me. Did you see everything? Yes, that was the most incredible sight I've ever seen. You look great in your dress, and your familiar is cute, I say, giving it a scratch behind the ear. Saber said she likes you, May says, laughing. Well, I like her as well, I say with a smile. A portal appears out of nowhere that Yiselda can be seen on the other side. She motions for May to come forward. I think the portal reopened for you to return home, I say to May. Good luck, Nina. I'll be waiting for you on the other side, she says, hugging me. She hurries back through the portal before I can say anything. It closes immediately behind her. Well, I'm alone in the Silverfay Forest, surrounded by thousands of creatures. I say to myself. I approach many of the animals but have no connection with them, so I decide to venture farther into the woods. I eventually reach a section of the woodland distinct from the others. It's dark and foreboding. The trees look to be lifeless and devoid of color. It has nothing enchanting about it, but it seems natural, as if I'm destined to be here. You can do it, Nina, one step at a time, I tell myself as I begin trudging over the muddy dirt, pushing dead twigs from the brittle branches out of my face. The more I go into the lifeless woods, the more vibrant the blue light becomes. Then, finally, I arrive at the most amazing tree I've ever seen. It has two gigantic branches that curve like tusks, leaving a large, empty circle between them where the great blue moon in the sky shines through. It's an incredible sight. A sliver of black mist flashes through the tree. I attempted to see what it was, but it moved too quickly. It whizzed past like a flash once more, this time closer. Whatever it is as black as night and has wings. I've been waiting for you for thousands of years, he says in a deep voice I can hear in my thoughts. Are you my familiar? I ask. I already know the answer because I can feel the connection between us like an unseen rope that pulls us closer together. Why bother asking when you already know? He responds. Can you read my mind? Yes. Are you going to reveal yourself? I'd like to meet you properly, I ask. You're not like the other witches, which explains why you'll be my master. The question is, how do you differ from the other witches? I sense your strength is far greater and also different to theirs. Perhaps I should introduce myself properly? I'm Nina, Alpha Magnus's mate, Luna of the Shadow Crest Pack. I am a hybrid, half wolf, half witch, I explain. I undress, shift into my wolf, and let out a massive howl. Incredible, he exclaims. Suddenly, a swoosh of black smoke drops in front of me. I revert to my human shape and gaze at the majestic raven in front of me. He does not appear to be a normal raven, though, since he emits black mist from his entire body. You are the most incredible raven I have ever seen. That's because I'm not just raven nor just a familiar. I am the rarest and the oldest of them all. I am the Shadow Raven. What is your name? I ask, whilst admiring him. Reaper, he says, followed by a caw and flaps his wings. Well, Reaper, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I look forwards to our future endeavors together, I smile. I'm ecstatic that Reaper is my familiar. Likewise, let us unite as one, he says. I extend my hand. A dazzling light spreads around us as soon as my fingertips brush Reaper's feathers. I ascend slightly above the ground, my clothes changing from a basic plain dress to a maroon-colored fitted gown with a corset back. My dress's sleeves grow long, and the hem and sleeves, like the other witches' gowns, are decorated with gorgeous gold embroidery. My wand materializes in front of me. When I reach out to take it, the wand emits another beam of light. My wand alters. At the bottom, a gold swirl appears, embellished with jewels and carvings. Reaper lands on my shoulder. The dark mist emitted by him whirls in the air and rests below my collarbone, leaving his imprint. Reaper is now my familiar, and I, now his master. I'm feeling more powerful than I've ever felt before. My veins are filled with a fresh wave of energy. This power, I murmur, twisting my head to look over my shoulder at Reaper. Does this come from you? Reaper squawks before responding over our mind link. Yes, now that we're bonded, I can give you as little or as much power as you need. Do you mean that what I'm feeling now isn't the whole extent of your power? You mean our power, and no, not at all. Let's just pray that you'll never have to utilize the full amount. What would happen if we had to utilize it all at once? I'd very likely die. I take a breather. Well, I'll make a mental note not to absorb it all, I say. We'll see, chuckles Reaper. The portal to Shadow Crest has opened. It's time for you to meet your new family, Reaper. I flash a smirk. Yes, I can't wait, he answers unenthused. Don't be that way, Reaper. You'll adore them, and there are more familiars among the 5 other witches with whom you might enjoy their company. May, one of the witches, is my sister. Excellent, more vexing familiars. I can't help but chuckle. You poor creature, Reaper, you've been alone for thousands of years, and now you'll have to suffer being surrounded by tons of love and friends. I pass through the portal, Reaper still on my shoulder, and return to Shadow Crest. Nina, Magnus says. He moves to embrace me, but pauses as Reaper flaps his wings, surprising Magnus. Wait, is your familiar supposed to have smoke flowing out of its feathers like that? He inquires. Yselda exhales and moves closer to check Reaper. It can't be? Isn't that the mythical Shadow Raven? I thought it was a fairy tale. She's taken aback. His name is Reaper. It's usual for him to emit black mist. I grin. He caws and flaps his wings again. I can see he's bragging. I try not to laugh. May dashes over, carrying Saber on her shoulder. We exchange glances and embraces. Reaper is irritated and caws loudly in May's ear. You don't have to be rude, bird. Your master is my sister, May pouts. His name is Reaper. You'll have to forgive him this once. I found him in the dead woods, far from all the other familiars, where he has spent thousands of years being antisocial, I explain. Oh, I see. Well, it's great to meet you, Reaper. My name is May, and this is my familiar Saber, the fennec fox. Reaper acknowledges her with a low caw. Magnus and Yselda turn and face the crowd and us. Yselda clears her throat. It is done. We are now one community and the first Wolf Witch community to exist and live peacefully together. My sisters and I look forward to helping maintain this wonderful township of Shadowcrest with you. Everyone applauds and cheers. Reaper flies off to a nearby tree while I run up to Magnus and kiss him endearingly. People of the community now add wolf whistles to the cheers. Ryker and Astrid approach us. We are so proud of you, son. Uniting with the witches will set such a wonderful example for the other pack communities, Ryker says to Magnus. Congratulations on your initiation into the Midnight Coven, Nina, and for your new little companion, Reaper, Astrid says to me. Thank you. Tonight has been eventful. I don't know how I'm supposed to sleep with all this adrenaline and new power. Perhaps shifting and going for a run with Magnus might help burn some of that excess energy away? She smiles. Yes, great idea, I say. Magnus and I hug them both good night, and everyone returns to their homes. It's time for me to return to Pandora's box. I'm sure we'll see each other in the days ahead. She says this as she bids Fern, Rhea, and Lilac farewell. Their eyes well up with tears. They can still see Yselda anytime they want, but it won't be the same as living with her in Pandora's box. Yselda enters the circle with the star and stones within and vanishes. Let us show you your new bedrooms in the pack house, I smile as I turn to see my new sisters. They perk up and walk into the pack house with Magnus and me. We proceed upstairs and show them all the extra rooms down the hall from where Magnus and I sleep. Pick any room you like. They are all identically sized rooms with their bathroom. The only difference is that the room colors are different. So no one is surprised when Lilac chooses the purple room, Fern picks the green, Ela chooses the yellow, and Rhea the red room. May waves them and us goodnight and retreats to her room. We should get some sleep too, Magnus says. I won't be able to sleep. I will need to shift and run all this new energy and power out of my system, I explain. Do you want me to come with you? Only if you aren't too tired to? I'll be fine. Let's go. He smiles. We strip our clothes off in our bedroom, shift into our wolves, and dash downstairs and out the door. After a few minutes of running through the forest, Reaper is flying roughly 50 meters high above me. Enjoying the view of Shadow Crest? I mind-link Reaper. No, where are all the dead trees? Why is everything so bright, colorful, and alive? I complete his statement with a chuckle. Yeah, that, he says. Welcome to Shadowcrest, Reaper, the town of werewolves and now witches. A place where everything flourishes and never dies. Lucky me, he replies, his usual unenthusiastic tone. I'm curious, where do familiars sleep? They may go wherever they want. I used to sleep in the Dead Moon Tree in Silverfay Forest, but we're on our second lap around Shadowcrest, and there isn't a single dead tree in this entire town. Well, let's go back home now that I've burned off some energy, I say. I pounced over Magnus a few times before returning to the pack house. We run upstairs and shift back to our human forms. I put my nightgown on while Magnus puts on his shorts. There is a tapping sound coming from our window. Magnus casts a curious glance at me and I shrug. He looks out the window to see what's going on. Reaper enters the room, walks by Magnus, and flies onto the rail at the foot of our bed. I, too, crawl into bed. Magnus is reluctant but jumps in. I put my head on his chest as he draws me into his arms. 10 minutes have passed. When I open my eyes, Magnus is still completely awake. Is everything all right? I inquire. You don't believe your pet will stare at me all night like that, do you? He is creeping me out. I look down at the foot of our bed and Reaper is eerily staring Magnus down. Reaper, seriously? I say. He caws and turns around with his back facing us. That's better, now everyone's asleep, and my mate's eyes better still be in their sockets in the morning, Reaper, or else I'll make you the brightest, most colorful birdhouse full of rainbows and glitter and force you to sleep in it, I warn. You truly are wicked, master, Reaper replies as he caws angrily and nuzzles his beak beneath his wing before falling asleep. It started around 7 a.m., with a series of caws. Magnus puts a pillow over his face and his ears. Unlike Magnus, I take my pillow and fling it at Reaper. As the pillow knocks him off the foot of our bed, his caw switches to a squawk. Good morning to you too, master, he hisses via the mind link. You're a raven, not a rooster, Reaper, I state my case. Magnus chuckles but stops as Reaper shoots him the death gaze. I grab Magnus's pillow and toss it at Reaper, missing him by a centimeter. And stop staring at Magnus in that manner, I say. Fine, I'm hungry for grubs anyway. he adds before flying out the window. I roll onto Magnus and we kiss and snuggle for a few moments before getting ready for the day. We can hear Fern, Ela, Rhea, and Lilac giggling as they go down the stairs. When I open my door, Lilac is sliding down the railing backwards. "Skedaddle dash!" Ela exclaims. Ad vanishes. Rhea races down the stairs while Fern leaps over the balustrade and skips half the steps. Magnus and I make our way down the stairs and into the dining room. "Lifto levitatious," says Ela. Magnus and I watch as the sugar dish drifts over towards Ela. She takes a teaspoon of sugar from the bowl and sprinkles it on top of her cereal. Then she flicks her wand, relocating the bowl to its original location on the table. "Good morning," I address everyone at the table. "Good morning, Luna," everyone greets me. "Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a good night's sleep." Magnus asks. "Yes, Alpha Magnus, we did, thank you," Rhea adds. May yawns as she walks into the dining area and takes a seat. Saber circles the dining room a few times before taking a seat on a window ledge. "Do you have any plans for today?" I ask the witches. "We were thinking about touring the town center to meet more people," Fern explains. "That sounds fantastic," I say with a smile. We wave goodbye as they skedaddle dash into town. "We have a lot of paperwork to complete today," Magnus adds as he stands on the front steps. Reaper is hiding in a neighboring tree, appearing out of place. I'm sorry for him, having been alone for so long and now living in a bustling, lush town. "There's something I need to do before we begin the paperwork," I tell Magnus. "Oh?" I approach the tree where Reaper is hiding. He observes as I grab for a limb and snap a twig. I extend my right arm. Reaper descends from the sky, lands on my arm, and walks up to my shoulder. "I have a surprise for you, Reaper," I say. "A surprise for me?" he inquires. "Yes," I answer as I walk around the pack house. I raise my hands and form a circle with my thumbs and fingers. Through the circle of my fingers, I stare up to the sky. "Right here will be perfect." "Perfect for what?" Reaper asks. "Perfect for what exactly?" Reaper inquires. "Your new house," I say, smiling. Magnus comes over, curious about what I'm doing. Kneeling, I set the twig on the ground, close my eyes, and place my hands on either side of the twig. "Perfect for what exactly?" Reaper inquires. "Your new house," I say, smiling. "Revitilo sprouto," I tell him. The ground rumbles and the twig grows into the same majestic tree, complete with two broad branches that bend, forming a barren circle in the center where we can view the moon at night. Reaper caws, flaps his wings, and soars into the tree. "My tree," he exclaims. Magnus puts his arm around my shoulder. Does this mean I don't have to be concerned about Reaper staring at me all night? Yep, I think he'll feel more at ease now. I smile. Magnus grabs my hand and leads me upstairs to our office, where we begin going over papers together. By late afternoon, the witches had returned and informed us how much fun they had mending signs, poles, fences, and anything else that needed TLC with their magic. The townspeople were ecstatic, and we also got complimentary cupcakes from the baker. Lilac explains. "That's fantastic, and I'm sure Yiselda would enjoy hearing everything about it." I smile. "We were thinking about paying her a visit tomorrow," Rhea replies. "She'd love that." "Do you think I could come too?" I ask. "Of course, you're welcome to join us," Fern adds. "I'm going to see Pandora's box tomorrow," I exclaim to Magnus. "Should I come as well?" he wonders, concerned. "We'll see," I say. We all have dinner and then retire to our rooms. I open the window and gaze out at the moon tree. "Good night, Reaper," I shout. "Good night, Master," he says, mind-linking. "You do realize you can just call me Nina or Luna?" "You could call me Reaper instead of Rooster," he quips. "Oh, Reaper," I chuckle. "Have a wonderful night, okay?" "Yes, Luna. You have a good sleep, too, and I suppose the same, too, Magnus." I can't help but smile when he tries to be friendlier to Magnus. I leave the window ajar just in case and snuggle into bed with Magnus. The night flew by, and before I knew it, it was morning. "Luna, people are arriving, but I sense they are not arriving in good faith," Reaper says as he flies in and pulls the sheet from us. "Huh?" I get out of bed, toss my feet to the floor, and stroll over to the window. There are 3 huge alphas, each with a dozen other wolves. I can barely make out the wolf emblem in the sunshine, blinding me. The Wolf Council is here. "Magnus!" "The Wolf Council has arrived." Magnus runs to the window and looks out. He rapidly dresses once he realizes I'm correct. I put on my pants and a simple tee and slip my wand into my back pocket. Reaper flies out the window in their direction. I find myself seeing through his eyes and hearing what Reaper hears. Alpha Bennett snarls, Alpha Magnus better have a solid justification for this. It might be rumor and not fact, and what wolf community would accept witches as residents? Alpha Amir says, one who has been bewitched. Alpha Theaton chuckles. Alpha Bennett growls, not funny. If this is true, it's quite dangerous, and don't forget they killed Alpha Zenith, who used to be a member of our wolf council. Alpha Theaton's demeanor shifts from light-hearted to solemn. I revert to myself and turn to Magnus. They've come to see if we have any witches living here. They don't appear pleased with the prospect of it being real. I'm confident that everything will be all right, but I'll mind-link my parents to join us. They might be able to help put the Wolf Council at ease. I nod and proceed downstairs, preparing to face the Wolf Council. When we hear the thunderous thuds, Magnus answers the door. What brings us the pleasure of welcoming the Wolf Council? Magnus chirps. Alpha Magnus, we've come to talk about some fairly serious worries that have everyone on edge. Alpha Bennett says. Please come in and join us in the dining room for some refreshments, Magnus adds as he opens the door wider. Magnus frowns at the scores of men following them as they enter. Perhaps you could all go to the ceremony hall, where there is more room, and I'll get you food and refreshments. The Alphas signal them to proceed to the ceremonial hall. Magnus was about to close the door when Ryker and Astrid arrived. I'm pleased you're here, Mum and Dad, Magnus replies. We want to reassure the Wolf Council that they have nothing to be concerned about, Ryker explains. While the kitchen staff brings out beverages and nibbles, we take our seats at the table. So, what's this troubling news you've heard that has prompted you to come here? Magnus inquires. Alpha Amir and Alpha Theaton wait for Alpha Bennett to speak. At first, we heard that your mate and Luna is supposedly half-witch. We ignored the rumors since we knew they were ridiculous, only to then hear that you have initiated a number of witches into your pack. Now we're all aware that witches haven't existed for hundreds of years, so please explain why the packs continue to believe these rumors are genuine, he adds, resting his hand flat on the table. Magnus squeezes my hand to reassure me before responding to the Alphas. Well, you see, you're hearing all of this because it's true. Nina's grandmother was a witch, and the powers passed down through her mother's generation. The witches of the Midnight Coven learned about it and requested to live peacefully amongst us. We decided that the witches would be welcome to join us. There is a brief pause before the three Alphas bust out laughing. Skedaddle dash! I hear one of the girls upstairs exclaim. Fern appears in a blink, seated next to us. The Alphas stop laughing and act shocked. Ayla, Rhea, and Lilac join us at the table, giggling. They ignore the Alphas and continue to converse while the cook serves out a tray of pancakes. Lilac takes half of the stack and places it on her plate. Then Rhea takes a few, leaving 2 for Ayla to take. Oh, I'd want some as well, you know, Fern explains. Ayla smiles and waves her wands over her pancakes. I wouldn't mind more than 2. Then she says, Spawniate. Suddenly, her 2 pancakes have multiplied into a stack of 10. She joyfully claps her hand and sets 5 on Fern's plate. Thank you, Ayla, Fern says, smiling. Would anyone else like some? Ayla inquires, now turning to face the rest of us at the table. As they observe the 4 witches eating breakfast, the Alphas have gone quiet and pale. Thank you, Ayla. We're good for the time being, I smile. I'd like to introduce you to our rather speechless visitors, Alpha Amir, Alpha Bennett, and Alpha Theaton. The Wolf Council is made up of them. The mention of the Wolf Council has piqued the witches' interest. They pause in their munching and smile at the Alphas. Hello, my name is Fern, and my name is Rhea. Lilac here, she says. Ella and we're the Midnight Coven, Ella explains. Well, mostly, but Yiselda isn't here, Ella adds. But there haven't been any witches in hundreds of years. So, how did you end up here, and how do you exist? Alpha Bennett inquires irritably. That's because your grandparents' generation nearly wiped us out. Fortunately, a few of us, like Yiselda, survived. We learned that the new Luna of Shadow Crest was half-witch and felt we would be safe here. None of you would be here right now if Yiselda hadn't survived the witch hunt. So it is because of her that the world is safe. Fern explains. Huh, safe? How can the world be considered safe when you dang witches exist? The witches stand up abruptly. now displeased with Alpha Bennett. Well, we dang witches have never caused any issues with the werewolf population. It's because you were afraid of our magic, despite the fact that we used it decades ago to heal your species and help your towns develop and prosper. The alphas grew irritated. Everyone came to us for help instead of them, and they began telling everyone that we were using spells against them. Everything was a lie. If you fully understood the ways of witches, you would understand how pleased it makes us helping others of any species. We never murdered any of your kind unless it was in self-defense or when we had no other option. We were always tranquil, and we still are, Ella recalls, fighting back the tears. Let's all take a deep breath and relax as we absorb all of this information, I say. Relax? While there are witches present? Alpha Theaton scoffs. Magnus smacks his fist against the table, drawing everyone's attention to himself. You forget my mate, and the Luna of this pack is a witch. Even if you are the Wolf Council, you will show respect while in my land and will not speak ill of the Luna or other witches. Whether you like it or not, Fern, Lilac, Rhea, and Ela are now members of this pack, and they will be treated respectfully as equals. Magnus receives a proud nod from Ryker. Alpha Magnus, my son, is correct. Our pack welcomed them all with open arms. They are now part of our family. Ryker explains. Ever since your mate Astrid murdered our fellow counselor, Alpha Zenith, we've all suspected that this pack will be a problem in the future. Speaking of the apple falling far from the tree, we hear Alpha Magnus is also to blame for his grandson's death. Moss? Alpha Bennett fires back. Astrid's hands are trembling. With the past being brought up, I can sense she is in anguish. I reach out and take her hand in mine. She offers me a grateful expression. Alpha Zenith kidnapped Astrid and planned to force her to mate with his son. Moss followed in his footsteps and kidnapped Nina, intending to force her to be his mate. Their killings were justified, and they had no one to blame except themselves. Ryker explains. Alpha Bennett taps his fingers on the table repeatedly in thought. Finally, he takes a step forwards and rubs his chin. Now that we've established the rumors are true, Alpha Amir, Alpha Theodon, and I have a lot to talk about concerning this problem, says Alpha Amir. But there isn't a problem, Magnus asserts firmly. Perhaps it isn't a problem in your eyes and pack because they are in your pack. As a result, they may be utilized against other packs. Alpha Bennett mutters. Did you not hear a word we said? Ayla snarls. We simply told you we were peaceful. We weren't the ones going about annihilating werewolves. But you did claim you killed a few moments ago? He counters. Because they were about to kill us even though we had done nothing wrong. You don't understand, do you? You have no idea how important it is for witches to live. Without witches, you would all perish, humans included. Ayla declares. The alphas of the Wolf Council burst out laughing. Well, for the previous 100 years or so, we've seemed to do just well without you. Alpha Theaton exclaims. That's because we've been in hiding to ensure your survival, including the human species, by keeping all your greatest nightmares locked up with spells in Pandora's box, you morons. Fern exclaims. They stop laughing. Their demeanor shifts, and they lock their gaze on Fern. I believe it would be in your best advantage to tell us more about this Pandora's box, Alpha Amir suggests. Ironically, I think it's in your best interests to know about what we're doing to save this world from being destroyed, and maybe, by some miracle, you'll come to some type of mutual respect for us witches. Fern explains. It has been entrusted upon Yselda for the previous 200 years to take over Pandora's box and stay there. It was known as the Midnight Covenstead for generations until the Vampire King went insane and summoned Shadow Reapers and Grimcoals and released them into the world. Many werewolves were killed and their domains were seized. It was only a matter of time before they infiltrated human settlements, and as you know, humans must never learn about the supernatural side of our world. Many witches banded together and used our power. We were able to imprison the Vampire King and his minions inside the Midnight Covenstead, where spells were put to keep them locked up for good. Centuries had passed, and the witches and wolves had coexisted peacefully until the alphas were dissatisfied with the love and adoration we got from their pack members. They lied to their pack members, claiming they were cursed and that all witches must be slain, so we can't control them with spells. As a result, they set out to find us. It was the vastest witch hunt in history. Yiselda was the only survivor of the Midnight Coven. She remained there, keeping the charms and spells in place, knowing it was now her responsibility to keep the world safe. Years later, in a human village, she stumbled upon us at an orphanage and sensed right away that we weren't humans. We were too little at the time and didn't know till she brought us in. Since then, she has served as our mother, teacher, and protector. She remains at Pandora's box to this day in order to protect us all. Fern explains, "Do you think we're going to believe that?" A vampire king, shadow reapers, or grimcoals have never existed. Everyone is aware of the past. Witches used their magic against us for selfish reasons, which is why you were wiped out. Alpha Bennett sneers. That is completely false, Fern yells. Alpha Bennett stands. We will take our leave to discuss this, and we will return tomorrow with our decision. What decision? There isn't anything to decide. Magnus growls. The decision on whether or not to allow the witches to stay alive. Alpha Bennett smirks, turns, and goes out the door, followed by Alpha Amir and Alpha Theaton before they all leave. Alpha Amir comes to a halt and turns. In the meantime, we'll leave a dozen of our warriors here to keep an eye on the pack until we return tomorrow. He smiles. They can't be serious? Fern is concerned. You and your sisters are part of this pack. We won't allow them to harm you, any of you. Magnus says. Reaper flies towards the Alphas, swooping them and then flying back up. What in the world was that? Alpha Bennett says, his head tilted. I'm not sure. All I saw was black mist, says Alpha Theaton. Witchcraft, perhaps? Alpha Amir says, returning his gaze to the pack house. Reaper caws and charges at them once more. This time, they come across a big black raven. They run from our territory, escaping Reaper. Reaper flies inside the house and lands on my shoulder. Reaper chasing after them off isn't going to help our situation. He mind-links. It doesn't matter what we do, they are going to take this further. Do you actually believe that? I ask, concerned. I know, and they'd already decided they didn't like witches before they stepped foot in this pack house. When they return tomorrow, it will not be with good news. We should probably go see Yiselda, Fern says. They all nod and walk outside. Ella redraws a star within a circle on the ground while Rhea places the stones at each point. Just step into the circle and say Pandora's box in your mind, and it will teleport you there with us, Lilac explains. As soon as they all step in and teleport, I enter the circle Pandora's box, I think in my head. I open my eyes. I notice a large and lovely house surrounded by a dense forest. The home has a red tint, and any framework and lattice around it is a dark brown. The chimney is emitting smoke, and a window shutter swings open. Rhea yells, "Come on, Luna. The entrance door is this way." I accompany them inside the covenstead. I'm dizzy from spinning around since there's so much going on. On the bookshelf, books and knickknacks are rearranging themselves. A broom is sweeping the floor on its own. There are cats, frogs, spiders, and even a chicken roaming the area. We follow the sound of bubbling water into the kitchen. I expected to see a kitchen island instead of a large black cauldron. Steam and bubbles float to the surface, and I cringe when I discover the bubbling fluid is green. I'm so delighted you came to visit, Fern, Ela, Rhea, Lilac, and Luna, Yiselda says with a smile. You too, Luna. Yiselda smirks as the witches crowd around and share one giant hug. I take a step forwards and join the group hug. Let me put the kettle on and we'll have some tea while you girls tell me how well you're settling into Shadowcrest, she says. Yiselda turns and wields her wand, saying Lifto Levitatis, Aquabedu, Inferno Flamo. We watch as a black iron kettle glides over to the tap, fills with water, and then floats over to the fire, hovering over it. She waves her wand again, this time at a teacup and saucer, saying, Lifto Levitatis. The cup and saucer drift to the dining table and land. She says, Spawniate. The cup and saucer multiply to become a set of 6 on the table. Lifto Levitatis, she says as she calls the pot of water over to the table. The kettle floats and tips over, dumping boiling water into our teacups. I place a tea bag on the saucer after dipping it in my teacup until I'm satisfied with the strength. Yiselda has come to join us at the table. How has it been so far? She inquires. We had a lot of fun, went into town, met many people, and even got free cupcakes from the baker when we helped replace the quirky broken fence and sign, Lilac says. They were very thankful, Ria says with a smile. I'm delighted to hear everything is going well, Yiselda says. Well, until today, when the Wolf Council came to visit us, Fern explains. Yiselda almost spills her tea as she stares at me. Unfortunately, they don't appreciate the fact that we've let witches into our pack. They believe witches used to cast spells against them, which is why their predecessors fought against witches. Yiselda sighs, placing her teacup on the saucer. It's a shame their parents and grandparents have lied to them about us. They don't plan on causing any harm to the girls, do they? She asks me. Well, they left not in the greatest mood to discuss the matter. The Wolf Council said they would return tomorrow with their verdict. Magnus insisted us witches are not a problem and that the girls had already been initiated and welcomed. Alpha Bennett claimed we could turn against them using the witches to our advantage. I'm hoping they come to their senses and understand witches just want to help, I say. We even told them they needed us because of Pandora's box. But they didn't seem to believe me when I told them why, Fern says. If something happens to any of you, or if you believe you are in danger, please return here immediately, okay? Yes, Yiselda, they all say at the same time. The chicken walks into the kitchen and pecks at random crumbs on the floor. This place is incredible. Do you think I could get a tour? I ask of Yiselda. Of course, as a Midnight Coven member, this is also your home now, she says proudly. She leads us down a lengthy corridor. I'm perplexed because the Covenstead appeared to be enormous from the outside, but this hall appears to be at least twice the length. As we proceed down the corridor, I notice that there are no doors, only old picture paintings of witches who were members of the Midnight Coven until they died or were killed. I come to a halt in front of one to observe its beauty more thoroughly. I take a step back. As the artwork moves, I leap back and scream. The witch in the portrait briefly bends her head and Hans smiles before returning to her previous stance. Luna, what is it? Lilac replies, concerned as she places a hand on my shoulder. I point to the portrait. She moved, she said. Oh yeah, they all do that, she shrugs. You could have given me a heads up, I grumble. Luna, we're in Pandora's box, silly. You should expect anything here, from your brightest dreams to your worst nightmares, she giggles. I roll my eyes and proceed to follow the others. When we reach the end of the corridor, there is no door, only a mirror. I glance at the reflection of all of us, confused. Are there no doors? This is simply a mirror, I say. Yiselda and the others smile and walk through the mirror. It ripples like water as they walk through it. I reach my hand out and quickly poke it with my finger. The mirror ripples. In astonishment, I then put my entire hand through. Someone on the other side takes my hand and pulls me through. Hurry up, slowpoke. Ria laughs. Yiselda leads us along an irregularly shaped corridor with 3 doors, one in front of me, one on the left wall, and one on the right wall. The sleeping quarters are via this door on the left. I follow her through the door and into a corridor with 10 doors. These are all bedrooms, she says as she opens the door closest to us. The bed is a big mattress that floats above the floor, with silk bedding dangling from the sides. Furniture moves around the room as though it has its own mind. Candles float above the bed, softly lighting the space. All right then, I answer, knowing this is out of the ordinary but not knowing what to say. A mahogany French wardrobe comes to a halt and faces me. I'm not sure if I should say hello. Magnus will think I'm insane if I start talking to furniture. Instead, I walked out of the room cautiously. The others join me, and we make our way back to the corridor with the 3 doors. This middle door leads to the library, and another door in the library leads to the enchanted garden, adds Yiselda. We walk into the library. There's a beautiful globe of the world. I spin it carefully and appreciate it. There are a few little tables where we can read. As I approach certain books, I notice that they are quite old. Book of Spells, Book of Potions, Book of Magic, Book of Wards. I read a variety of titles. At the back of the library, there are 2 double doors. Fern opens them, and my mouth drops open in awe at the beauty. Like fairies, there are small balls of light floating around. I chuckle as I see the cutest garden gnome statues, some with their belly hanging out. I've never seen such lush trees and a colorful abundance of flowers. Toadstools, some of which were taller than myself. I come to a halt as I notice something beyond the bushes. It's quite big and white. Is that a horse? I ask. Everyone laughs as Fern responds, No, Luna, it's a unicorn. I laugh this time until the horse steps forwards, a horn illuminating a white light on its head. Wait! It's a unicorn. I say this while pointing at it. I thought you were joking? No, I was serious, Fern says, laughing. This place is incredible. I can't believe you've got a unicorn here. I stroke and pat the unicorn softly. She is lovely, I say, Yiselda remarks. Her name is Star. Hello, my name is Nina, I say with a smile. Star gently rubs her head on my face. I look over at the garden gnomes and kneel in front of the one with the red cap and green shirt with its belly hanging out. My face is millimeters away from his. I swear he had his hands on his hips and now he's waving his hand. The gnome suddenly leans forwards, snatches a kiss off my lips, and smiles. I flush and then growl. You tiny gnome. You can't simply steal a kiss like that. I'm mates with Alpha Magnus, I growl. Sniggering, the chubby gnome turns and rushes into the bushes. The witches are trying hard not to laugh. It's time to see the rest of Pandora's box, says Yiselda. We walk out of the library and into the hallway with the 3 doors. Now, the door on your right is one you should never enter on your own. The Vampire King and his minions are held under spell and ward in the dungeon. When the door opens, there is nothing but darkness. There doesn't appear to be a floor. Yiselda says, materialize, and a book emerges in her hand. She sets it at the foot of the door on the ground. Sproutosponiate, she says, casting. The book expands 5 times in size, then multiplies and stacks up, forming a book staircase. Wow, that was cool, I say. Yiselda beams. Everyone takes out their wands and flicks the tip, sparking a heatless flame that illuminates the dark stairs. They make their way up the steps. I grab my wand, flip it for light, and proceed up the stairs. Inside is a black wooden door with a white circle containing sigils. These sigils you see are wards designed to prevent the Vampire King from fleeing. You never, ever, ever wipe them away. Yiselda states sternly. I give a nod. We enter the dungeon once she opens the entrance. It's gloomy and dark. I can hear a variety of threatening noises, shrills, moans, growls, and hisses. Many cell doors have little green and gray hands reaching out to me. I'm struck by how long their claws are. When I get closer and see countless little goblin creatures with razor-sharp fangs snapping and gnarling, I gasp and cover my mouth. They try to reach deeper through the bars with their long, dirty claws to grab me. They're various shades of green and gray, with black eyes, and I know I'm looking at some of the most frightening creatures I've ever seen. Grimgoals, Ayla describes them. They're horrible little things. They have shark-like razor-sharp teeth and can rip anyone to shreds in seconds. They have a hunger for flesh, she explains. The concept makes me shudder. We proceed deeper into the dungeon. When I gaze into the cells, I notice that the darkness is moving. How come it appears that something is in there, yet no one is in there? I ask. Shadow Reapers, Ayla calls them. They are shadow entities. They hide in the shadows so you don't notice them. They suck themselves down your throat and take control of your thoughts and body. They make you see things that aren't there. They are hallucinogens that cause you to perform crazy things, typically leading in your death or the killing of others. I back up a few steps. Yeah, no thanks, I say, frowning.